mergers and things like that will change the industry. It depends what governments do with policy. I mean, you've got the Gonski, not the Gonski, you've got the Finkelstein review into the media. I think there's some concerning aspects of that. It's a witch hunt against the right-wing media, which I guess I'm part of. But I think if government just sort of leave us alone, I mean, we've got to be responsible, of course we do, I understand that, but if governments just let people have their say and let industry figures do what they want to do, as long as it's responsible and not completely outrageous and spreading misinformation, then I think we don't need massive over-regulation, and I think people will continue to engage. I mean, what else are they going to do? I mean, they feel at the moment locked out of the political cycle. People are calling for an election. This is their way of having their say. So, you know, it's old technology, radio, telephones, but sometimes the old things are the best. Well, I don't know why we had to have it. I mean, it was incredibly obvious what was going on there. I mean, when you got people like Bob Brown and the Labor Party saying that we need to look into the media, I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to work out what they want the findings to be. And I've got nothing against Mr. Finkelstein, but I think the whole premise of the review was designed basically to suggest that we have to be ever vigilant we don't have a situation like occurred with the newspapers in Britain. There's no evidence to suggest that was the case here, but nonetheless, of course, it was important to look into it just to make sure. You know, there's nothing wrong with looking into the media. There's nothing wrong with prosecuting those who totally misbehave and abuse their position of power. We have a position of influence. I don't know if we have power, but we have influence that the average person in the street may not have. Only in that people tune in mainly for entertainment, and if we're talking political issues, they might sow a seed or they might spark something in their mind that they want to talk about. That the average person doesn't get access to all the people we do just wandering around, unless they've got an incredibly big voice. But I just don't, I smelled a rat the moment it started. But if you're going into the public life as a media practitioner or a politician, you're going to have to expect that some of your opinions some people won't like. Now, if you're not big enough to deal with that, you're in the wrong profession. And there's no point, in my opinion, getting independent judges and inquiries going when there's no one out there really complaining about media malpractice. I mean, you know, you've got Media Watch. I mean, you've got ACMA, you've got the Journalistic Standards Board, or whatever they're called. Do we need anything else? I never saw any evidence of malpractice or anything of the sort that was going on in London. I think it was just completely political. And there should be a separate, I mean, we're meant to be the fourth estate. There should be a separate, in my mind, there should be a separation between government and media to an extent. I mean, the same sort of people are here at the moment saying, oh, you know, leave Craig Thompson alone, that, you know, there's a separation of power between the government or Parliament and the courts. Well, a similar separation, I think, should exist between the government and the media. And if it gets a little hot for them, well then, you know, debate the point. Don't bring in the judges and the Spanish Inquisition.
Government regulation in relation to community radio usually makes a difference mainly in terms of funding. So in other words, we don't necessarily feel any regular changes in what you are allowed to put to air or that kind of thing, although the legal constraints, which haven't changed that much over time, do put pressure on us to make sure that we're not broadcasting anything that could be illegal or defamatory. But mainly we feel changes in government legislation through funding. So what are we able to do with what money, and where's that money coming from?